Hey everybody, my name is Jeremiah Craig and I am back at Rick Walker's in Boston, Massachusetts. Today we are looking at this Circle G snip toe cowhide cowboy boot. Let's get into it. This store is so much fun to be in. Like, there's a whole bunch of different rock and roll gear, bunch of like cool belt buckles and rings, and of course you got new and vintage boots as well. And as I was sort of perusing around to see which kind of boots that I wanted to review today, I of course found the Corral Cayman Belly Ropers, and if you haven't seen that, definitely check that out in the link above. But I also found right next to it were these Circle G snip toe, and these are just cowhide, but it's a really pretty boot. I love the color of it, so I just decided that I had to do a review of this too, because I haven't reviewed any Circle G's yet on my channel. So here we go. Let's do it. The first thing that drew my attention to this boot is sort of the quality of the leather. It's really nice. The grain is kind of veiny and it feels really nice too. It's supple. And I love the color of this boot too. The toe bug stitching is something that hits you next as you're really starting to look at this boot. It's orange. And I didn't notice it at first because it accents the color of the boot so well, but now that I see that the toe bug stitching is orange, it just makes me fall in love with this boot even more. Another thing that I really like about the design of this boot are the stitching up here on the crown of the boot. It's like stitching like as if you cut yourself and it's sewing it shut, right? You got cross stitches there, and it's a little bit lighter of a thread than the rest of the boot. And I don't know, it just looks badass to me. I don't usually see that, and I really like that design on this boot. On the inside, we have a leather lining, really soft leather lining too. It's real nice. These are made in Mexico. Leon, Mexico is where Corral has their factory. These are made by Corral. Circle G is a Corral company. I don't know if I said that already. The insole, I don't know, that doesn't feel leather to me, but it is soft and foamy, but it doesn't feel leather, but it kind of does in the middle. I'm not sure what this is. If it is leather, it's definitely a cheaper kind of leather. We have a distressed leather outsole. So this is leather, but it's sort of scuffed up to make it look a little bit more classic, a little bit more, I don't know, vintage. We do have a Goodyear welt, a single stitched welt, around half of it, and they finish off with the brass pegs and the lemonwood pegs here. The heel is also sort of a distressed, rough feel. At first I thought it was wood, but I can kind of see layers here. I think it's stacked leather, but it kind of feels like wood because they didn't finish it off. They probably just sanded it real quick down, rough like, and just left it just because it fits the style of the boot. And then we have our rubber heel cap as well. I think I pretty much covered everything. Let's go ahead and try this boot on. Okay, so just put my feet into this boot and I can already say that they're too tight. This boot is an 11D, so it's the same size that I chose last week when we featured the Corral Cayman Belly boots. But because it is a snip toe, the toe box is more narrow. Now, this is something that I run into, but because I am technically a 12B, my foot runs longer, but is also narrower. So my foot is going further into this boot than what it is designed for, basically, and pinching up my toes. So for me, this is a problem that I have because I have a narrow foot, and other people won't have that problem because they would be a true 11D or 9D or 8.5D, you know, but because I'm a 12B, the toe box size matters a lot for me. because there aren't a lot of B widths available. Other than that though, it's a great look. Look at that. Toe shape, the orange stitching on the toe bug is really nice. But it looks great. Let me give you a POV. All right, to wrap things up here, the thing that initially drew my eye to this boot was the color of it, the stitching up here by the crown, and the grain of the leather too, and plus the toe style. I mean, you gotta love the snip toe. You gotta love it. But then when I was actually giving this boot a real eye for detail, the orange toe bug stitching really stood out after I looked at this boot for a minute. It took me a minute though, because it just accents the color of this boot so well, in my opinion, and I really appreciate that. Overall, I like the build of this boot. It's coming in at $189, which is a very reasonable price for a boot like this. I'm kind of impressed at that price point, to be honest. The only thing is that it does get narrow for me in the toe box because of the snip toe shape. So if you run narrow, just know that, and you might have to get an extra half size if you can't get a B width. I don't know if they're selling this in B width. I doubt it. So for me, this is an 11D. I would want to try the 11.5D. I think it would be perfect. Let me know what you guys think of this Circle G cowhide snip toe boot down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching today. And don't forget that if you are ever in Boston, stop by Rick Walker's. It's not just boots they have here, new and vintage. They also have a bunch of different rock and roll clothes, belt buckles, rings, you name it. It's just a really cool store to peruse. And if you're around here, give me a call, like message me, email me, something, and let me know when you'll be here, and maybe I'll meet you here. Like, it'll be a fun time. We'll just sort of try on boots or whatever. All right, I'll catch you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace.
Hey Circle G, well I like the quality at your nice price. These boot beauties, they got the color that looks just right. Yeah, my name is Jeremiah Craig. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Yeah.